So I'm going to do a setup process of putting a Ace flight controller in your already H1 system helicopter that you have purchased. So if you're upgrading to the Ace, this is basically how you're going to do it and set up. This one is actually running on Express ELRS. You'll be getting a separate little dongle that allows you to plug your helicopter into the factory receiver that's typically mounted down here on the side. Now, with the new flight controller, the wires, the white wires on the old H1 were usually down. Now they're actually up. So, and they are still oriented basically the same way. You have your left, your right, your rear servo, or they call it the back servo, your tail, and your ESC. The LG is for landing gear, which is for up and coming models. Eventually they're going to have landing gear. The LED is not what you think it is. It's not for having nav lights, but it is for the LED status lights that I have another video on that shows me wiring it in, which this particular helicopter has. And that's what this light is here. There's one in the belly, and then there's one on the other side. So, oh, here we go. My camera deal is messing up on me. So with that said, and then your aux port, they have not figured out what they're going to use that yet. From what I've been talking to with Flywing, from Pong at Flywing, they don't know what they're going to use that for just yet. So with that said, so once you have your flight controller mounted in there, all the wires properly connected, put in the right orientation, you are going to plug in your flight controller and come over to the software. Now, the latest software that I believe right now is 1.3. Always check with flywingrc.com first, because the Flywing USA website is usually behind on getting the latest firmwares uploaded. I always have to get our marketing director for Flywing to get the latest software updated to the American site. So for people that are in North America or close to North America, don't have to wait hours to download the software. So once you have your flight controller hooked up, you're going to select your correct COM port, which mine is 40, and then you hit connect. I don't have a flight battery sitting over here, so I'm going to have to find one so I can put it in here. I got one right here. Excuse the workbench, guys, it's a mess. I work a full-time job, so I do this part-time when I get time from work and from the wife. So I'm basically connected up to the flight controller right now, as you can see. I do not have my radio on, it's just sitting at idle, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn that on. Let's switch. Who's still on? No?
Switch warning.
Who is not in this SG? Ooh, it's been a minute.
Engines armed.
No, you're not.
Return to home.
Okay.
Soft mode. Engines disarmed.
Alrighty, so waiting for it to actually. Oh, give me a second here. Okay, so reason why I paused the video is because I wasn't binding up to my radio, because I forgot when you plug in your USB port, it automatically applies power to your receiver. My receiver went into bind mode, so when I turned on my radio, it was such a long delay, it didn't want to work correctly. So basically I just unplugged USB port, battery, plug that back in, plug this in, and boom, instantly it connected. So now I have my computer up and running with the software connected. Well, it's connected, but I got to reconnect because I unplugged it. Plug it back in. My laptop's slow, guys. I need to get a new one. I know it's ancient. So you're gonna be greeted with Chinese. We'll go switch over to English. So the start calibration right here, that is to calibrate the sticks of your transmitter. So once you click on that, you move all your sticks in all 4 general locations. You will see this change to let you know that it's ready to accept it once you do it enough, and you can pretty much save that on your own. Now, there was a video that I just did with the ERS. If you do not have your megahertz set correctly for your flight modes from home to GPS to ADI mode, what will happen is if you don't have it set right, it'll go from return to home straight to ADI. You skip over GPS, so you actually have to set that up correctly within the radio. And make sure in the video, watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about, making sure your firmware is up to date. So right here, you have your soft mode, standard, and sport. Soft mode, you're gonna have very small angle of attack of the swash plate, meaning that it's barely gonna move. See how it's in soft mode? That swash plate's barely moving. When you go to standard mode, you get a little more throw. So let me see if I can do this 2 finger or 1 hand. See how that swash plate moves just a little bit? So you get more angle attack. And if you go to ADI mode, it's still the same thing. You get more movements. It just increases your swash plate. Okay, that's basically all the soft mode, standard, and sport mode are. Now, channel 9, which they just have turn, which is your coordinated turns, and then this is to where
return to home.
This switch here. If you push forward on your collective to go forward, all you have to do is use your rudder stick left or right or left, and it's going to make this thing turn and go into a bank turn without using aileron roll. All you're doing is just giving it gas, going forward. You use this stick to make your right or left hand turns, and it's going to do it for you. Okay, and it's kind of cheating, but it looks cool. That's what that is for. Motor, everybody knows what that is. It's the same as your H1, and same thing with your flight mode. They no longer have 3D mode. They're all ADI mode now, either in the FW450. Rotor, same concept as your H1. This is where you're going to come in and you're going to use these 3 here to try to get your swash plate as level as possible. I'm going to talk to them to see if they can start manufacturing swash plate leveling tools as an accessory to sell. That way you can get a true swash plate leveling. If none of you know what a swash plate leveling tool is, just YouTube it. You'll see what I'm talking about. This side here is your collective. When you click on max positive, this is where you want to set with your pitch gauge. You want to be able to set your collective pitch to be at a positive 12 pitch. Okay, once you get that set up, then you're going to come down to max negative. And then on scale birds, you don't really have to go negative 12 because you're not going to fly these inverted, especially with the quick release blades, because they are flat bottom blades and they're not designed to fly inverted. So you can go a negative 10. So you can go 10 or 12, but I don't see really going 12 because you're not going to go inverted. And then the last page here, this is where you would actually select which helicopter you're going to put it in. So if you select on the BO105, what it does is it comes in and it presets the parameters for you by their default. Okay, that's their default settings and not what you see on mine. I've actually adjusted mine out. So every helicopter pretty much has almost this different settings. So, but when you come in here to parameters, I always like to put my throttle up a little bit higher because I don't like a low head speed. Just for, controllability wise, basically. Your pitch and roll gain, these are going to be, if I'm not mistaken, the actual sensitivity of it. Same thing with your tail gain. Your brake gain, we all know what that is. If you don't want your helicopter, sorry, I'm not filming it. Hush up, radio's counting. Brake gain, like I said, everybody knows what this is. When you let go of the sticks, is how hard this thing is actually going to lift the nose up and stop the helicopter. Okay, that's what your brake gain is. Now your low battery, I never use this. Heckgummit, I'm missing it out of frame again. Low battery, I never use this. You guys know that. I will just throw in a LiPo alarm and be done with it. They took out the setting to where you can set the voltage that you want to return to home because they were getting too many complaints or too many people sending back their helicopters saying I had it set for return to home, and they look at the voltage that they had it set to and it was too low. Because you guys got to remember, these helicopters are designed for beginners. They're not really designed for people who've been flying helicopters for years, because if they were, they would know not to set it that low. So they just went ahead and set up a default voltage for return to home, and I want to say it's 3.6 volts, but I could be wrong. I need to ask Pong on that, but it's an automatically preset determination. That's why you cannot adjust that. And at the very top here is your good old compass calibration. Make sure you check this box that says automatic restart, and then you can click on start. Same thing you're going to do. I do nose down, 2 complete revolutions, flip it up, nose up, 2 complete revolutions. Horizontal, I do 2 barrel rolls. Then I grab a hold of it, spin the tail around, and I'm continuing watching that bar. If it doesn't do it after the 2 horizontal rotations, then I'll put the nose back up. As soon as I start spinning it, boom, it's done. And you will see your flight controller light start blinking different colors once it's done. Okay. Now, with that said, what they've done with the Ace flight controllers is basically what they did to the H2. Once you do your initial setup on a laptop, preferably a laptop, so that way you can do the compass calibration outside, because I don't do them that much in here because I got too much crap in here that's got electrical fields. Once you do your initial compass calibration on a computer and it's done, if you go to a field, you don't need your laptop anymore. Okay? Once you do your initial setup, and the reason why I say initial setup, that's like your throttle, your pitch, your roll, your tail, your brake, battery, and then your swash plate, making sure it's level, and your pitch. Once you do all this initial setup, and then you come in here and you do your calibration and it's successful and everything else, hoo-ha, hooray, you're done with that, good. Now when you go to the field and you turn on your helicopter and you go to GPS mode and you get your solid green light, see, like, I'll explain those in a second, but once you get a solid green light there and you're like, cool, you wait another 30 seconds, you pick up your helicopter and you spin it around, and you get a blinking amber light. Not a red, but you get a blinking amber light. Okay, no problem. What you do is you put your radio back and return to home, and then you're going to cycle this switch several times, back and forth. You will see this light start blinking red, green. That means you're in calibration mode again. And you do the same old thing. Once it's done, it will automatically restart itself. Once it restarts, unplug your battery, then plug it back in, let it do its cycle again, let it find its GPS. Once it gets a good lock, then you can go ahead and pick it up, spin it around, see if you get a, blinking light. Now she's going to beep at me because she's been sitting idle for too long. So what you're seeing here on these lights blinking, so right now it's not going to read because I got too much electrical crap around here. But return to home mode, these will be purple. The other side will be purple. In GPS mode, they're going to flash amber. Once they get a GPS lock, they'll actually change their colors. Actually, that's not amber, that's red. So I got an issue. It's saying radio. So these are basically this here. That's all they are. And of course you get one little flashy strobe light down there. Cool. But pretty much once you do your calibration out in the field and it's good, go fly. Now if you're running the Express ELRS, you can actually set up your radio to show you how many satellites you have. So if you don't have a laptop, you can set it up to do your battery voltage, what flight mode you're in.
Return to home.
It says return to home, GPS, and attitude mode.
Attitude mode. Return
Guys
to
that are using, oh my God, that's getting on my nerves. The guys that are still using these factory radios, you're going to be limited to not having all of this here. And then you're also limited to not using Express ELRS. Express ELRS has been a proven receiver modulation for racing quads, good penetration. You can get a lot more information with those receivers than you can with the standard one that comes with these helicopters. So I strongly suggest that you upgrade to a radio like this. And reason being is when you go to the field, you don't have to carry around, if you got 4 or 5 helicopters, you don't have to carry around 4 or 5 helicopters. You just carry around this one here. Because see, when you go into there, you have, don't select it. You can have all your helicopters in here, and all you gotta do is click on that one there, boom, you're done. You can go fly. So, strongly recommend upgrading your radio system if you plan on doing a lot of Flywing helicopters. Yeah, see, I got an error there. When Chinese, I'm still working on it. I'll have to translate that, but I'm sure it's probably telling me that I got a compass error. It's because I've been sitting inside for too long. But that's pretty much the basics of the setup. The setup is going to be exactly the same for the FW450 one, other than you don't have the coordinated turn down here. This one is going to be your stunt mode, basically, is basically what that one's going to be. I will make another video here probably tomorrow, because I got my V3 right here and I found an issue with it when I put the Ace in there. Let's see if I can get it shot. The GPS little section there, you can see how it's hitting the top of the canopy, and it's also making the flight controller sit all funky. And then on top of that, can't get to the USB port. It's no longer on the back side, it's on the top side, so you're gonna have to modify your canopy to make it work. So that'd be something I'll probably maybe work on tonight. But as far as the setup process for the Ace, that's what we're looking at. This one incorporates pretty much what you're going to see in an H2, but not all of it. You get the flight algorithms of the H2 in a watered down version, if that makes sense. Okay, so Flywing is doing a really good job of setting up the algorithms now. I've flown that BO-105 several times. I made one video of me flying it, but I've flown it since after that, and that thing just is so smooth when it flies. I have so much fun flying it. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments and I'll answer them relatively as fast as I can. Like I said, I don't do this full time. I have a full-time job and a life that I have before I get into my RC stuff. Hope this helps you guys out. It's not rocket science on setting these things up. It's simple. Flywing did a video in half the time I did, but I'm actually speaking. Theirs is, they use, I think, an AI bot. So if you have any questions, like I said, just ask in the comments and I'll be glad to help.